one.
Usually our breaks in between reviews last half an hour, not a whole week. But this wasn't most weeks, now was it?
Nope.
Well, and I would hope not, because this is a game that takes more than half an hour to do anything with.
That is true. It's very true. Anyway, so welcome to another Fragments of Silicon review. Up this week is .hack GU Last Recode. And I'm going to be up front. My knowledge of the .hack franchise is limited at best. And not compounded, I was having problems running this game. I don't know, there was some sort of memory leak or something that caused the game to slow to a crawl, and it shouldn't be slowing to a crawl. It's a PlayStation 2 game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, updated, but
Yes,
not.
it's been updated.
You can only update so much.
Yeah, it's like I've seen footage like you can upscale the resolution, but you can't upscale the geometry. That's always a key factor in these like remasterings. You're unless you actually go back and literally remake the game, you're still going to be at that level of technology at a certain point. But with that in mind, the team here, especially Petty Fan and Ogre and Twilight, are going to take the lead in reviewing this game because they played it, not just this version, but they played it back in the day, or have friends who played it back in the day. Over to you, Petty Fan. Why don't you get us started?
Okay. I guess to start off, this as a port, it has some problems. Like, the biggest issue is if you're using a PS4 controller, it doesn't recognize your, D-pad. So, like, the trap chests, some of them require D-pad input. I can't use them.
So you need to use it with a Xbox 360 controller or something?
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, since this was originally a PlayStation game.
Yeah, you would think they would have a control mapping set for PS4 controller, but they just omitted it for some reason.
I guess that's why I didn't have any issue with my Logitech. I was able to do everything just fine.
If you have a standard X input device, then it shouldn't be a problem. But I chose to use PS4 controller because muscle memory.
Yeah.
And other than that, like, it looks nice. Like, you can tell they've actually done, it's not just, oh, let's, put more pixels into it. They've actually, like, retooled some of the cutscenes and stuff. Some of them
it says it supports 60 FPS, although I don't know how universal that is.
Well, that's probably more for consoles, because with PC it depends if you have the horsepower to run it at 60.
Right.
Yeah.
Or higher.
Yeah. Actually, I think I remember seeing it's locked at 60 on the Steam page, or on the Steam group forum thing. But I don't know if they've removed that or if people have removed that. And as basically, I personally have issues with the story of this game, but that's mainly because I don't like the main character.
That goes into like the nature of GU in the .hack franchise.
Yeah.
They did also do some other changes. It looks like in terms of adding improvements from the second two parts of, because this is a 3-volume thing
Yes,
released
they
as one
added
with an extra chapter.
they added some of the AI improvements from 2 and 3 into 1. So your allies will actively try and use weaknesses against your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly it has increased movement speed, but I haven't felt it, and that's kind of one of my complaints with the game is you move so slow.
In
Like
overworld settings.
overworld dungeons, both. It's just I don't know if it's a combination of the levels being too big with nothing to do, or you just feel like you're going nowhere.
Yeah, it could be the levels themselves, because as you said, they're large and arguably unnecessarily large at some points.
Yeah, it takes you about 20-30 minutes to do a dungeon.
Yeah.
And it says they also rebalanced a few things and added more items that you can hold and stuff. Yeah. I don't know all that much about GU. Most of my knowledge about .hack is from the first chapter of the .hack saga, which, for those not familiar with it, .hack was originally released as a big multimedia thing where there were a couple of animes and then some manga and then the video game, and then I think there were also some novels, and if you wanted the whole story, you had to read all of that. And as with the GU stuff, the whole premise of the games is that you're basically playing a person playing a MMORPG.
Yeah.
And then in GU, you said they had like a significant directorial staff change.
Yeah, I think they changed directors, but I believe the original director left after the quadrilogy, and then someone new came on. I forget his name, but basically the entire tone of the franchise shifted to what I describe as generic anime.
Yeah, and it was already kind of anime with the sort of cyberpunk video games. This is like one of the earlier,
this was like
modern
early 2000s
style isekai stuff. Yeah, it was kind of isekai in terms of like it wasn't everybody trapped in the world, but it was you're dealing with a world of video game and stuff. And so this is in this game, the game that you're playing is the sequel to the game in the original, which ended because of plot related real world and in-game problems.
Well, seeing how the building caught fire.
Yeah.
And then this game like a lot of like the basic presentation of the game in GU of the World 2 or whatever it's called it seemed like they were like intentionally putting an effort to make this game like the cooler, edgier version of the world.
Yeah, they seem to be aiming for more accessible to people, to pull them in much easier than the previous quadrilogy was. Got off to like a faster start and such.
Yeah, like this was just basically the opposite of what the quadrilogy was.
Yeah.
Because the original one was a fairly classical style RPG in the MMO.
And I'm not sure how you would quantify, the difference between Kite and Haseo, other than Kite was much more cerebral. Like, he actually thought about, collateral damage and, putting his friends in harm's way, as opposed to Haseo, who's more like,
Kite is mostly a nice kid. Haseo is kind of an edgelord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, overall, GU could be seen as a coming-of-age story in a way, as Haseo grows out of his teenage stupidity.
Well, part of what's up with Haseo, and involves who he was in the original version of the world.
Yeah.
This is kind of mild spoilers if you haven't seen Sign, but seeing how that's like a 10-year-old show. Basically, Haseo is Sora. He was the first one data
Mhm.
drained by Skaith. And that fucked him up mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like, when he woke up, he was like, I think one of the last ones to wake up, like almost 2 years later, and he still had the mentality of like a 10-year-old. And
That's true.
he remembered nothing of the world R1.
Mhm.
So, like, that's part of the thing is he's fucked up mentally. So, it's kind of him coming to grips with that in a way. Though they don't really go into it much, but it's kind of like a background thing. It's more discussed in the novels.
Yeah, which again, there still is some multimedia stuff in this, and yeah, because it's the sequel to the game, some of the characters in this game are being played by people who played characters in some of the stuff from the first Dot Hack, and unless you look at that part of the franchise that explains that, you don't necessarily know, and luckily, it's
Honestly,
not
it's
always
not
important.
required. Unlike some other
No.
sequels, if they just took the Dot Hack moniker off this and didn't mention the other characters, you'd never know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I was gonna say that it's kind of there's a lot of stuff going on. You don't need to know all of the stuff that's going on beyond the stuff that's relevant to the game. It's just there's a lot of stuff to find out about if you look into it.
Yeah. Like, yeah, they mention their names, and it's like, if you played or read any of the novels, you're like, oh, hey, wait a minute, is that one dude? Thumbs through the novel. Hey, yeah, it is. And then it's like, um, as as far as multimedia goes, the only thing you really have to know about for this game is it's recommended you watch the anime Dot Hack Roots. Other than that, there's nothing else you really need from the Dot Hack series.
Yeah. Everything else before then is something for enjoyment, you could say.
Mhm.
Well,
Like
it's
if you,
also recapped in the package here. Like
true.
all
It's a basic recap, but there's still stuff they're missing.
well, it's about the best you're gonna get.
Yeah,
Considering
like
that for whatever reason, we haven't spoken to the Bandai Namco people yet about this game, but um, you know why GU got the remake over the original series. You know, it there are any number of reasons why this might have happened. From the original games are too old, in like either lost source code or the graphics are too um, outdated, or especially the cutscenes. They couldn't upgrade those. But for whatever reason, GU got the nod, and it's the second series.
I think part of
Mhm.
it might have been that GU was I think it was done mostly in HD and then downscaled because I think it was slated for a PS3 launch, but as we all know, the PS4 launch and the PS4 bombed horrifically.
You mean the
Or
PlayStation
PlayStation
3?
3, yeah. Its launch
I.
was not good.
That being said, I don't think that was the reason. Like, um, but I know part of it has to do with it's because it's the 15th anniversary of the Dot Hack franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
You know,
again, it would make more sense to, re-release the quadrilogy, which is about $50 a game right now.
right. I'm like, the only ones who can answer that are Bandai Namco, and we'll see if we can get said answer. But here we are with the Dot Hack GU remastering.
Yeah. I
So,
think it has something to do also with the fact that GU takes place in 2017
did we
in
lose
the
Twilight?
Twilight's here.
No, he's talking.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying that it may have something to do with the fact that GU takes place in 2017, and that the last volume takes place like near the end of the year as well.
Yeah. Like, I guess kind of spoilers, but the last volume, if you keep track of the timeline, the world ends. The world R2 ends. I believe it's December 31st, 2017.
So
New Year's Eve. Yeah.
On track for about now.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing the second chapter of it without doing the first one can be a little bit possibly confusing for some people.
And
Now,
it's less bad because you don't need the quadrilogy.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Although the story in the quadrilogy, I think you said you prefer significantly.
Yes, it is the superior story. I guess we should probably get into the game itself. Basically, it's a simulated MMO. You've got your desktop where you can launch the game. You have your mail, which you get from players in the game. You have a little side game called Crimson Versus, which is kind of a card game thing. It's really basic, but it's a thing you can do on the side. It has news of like stuff that's going on in, the real world. Like they're talking about doll syndrome, which is basically what they're calling the people who have become lost ones in this game. MMO addiction, stuff like that. Then there is the community forum for the game, where you can get like special keywords to go to different areas. Tips for Crimson Versus, news, Opcolo, where you can get backgrounds.
And all
then,
good for immersion.
Yeah. And then there's the cutscene viewer, which if you want to view previous cutscenes. And then you got your options and save. And then in the world itself, which nifty thing about the remake real quick, that little loading screen you saw there is now skippable. In the PS2 version, that was an actual loading screen. Now it's a cutscene. And then there is, just more forums in here where you can get more keywords and figure out, what's going on. And then you can actually go into the game itself, and then you can party up with people. Like, you can actually go into the menu. Oh, yeah.
Again, this is not actually an online game.
Yeah. These are all of the people you party with, you have no control over. They all act on their own AI. Yeah. And then, like, you could go around the town. I can't go to an area yet because I have to do a story mission real quick. But yeah, like, you can go run around the town. You can talk to people and trade with them if you want here in town. I use cheat mode to get through Volume 1, so I don't need as much as in the early game of Volume 2, which is what I'm at right now.
And we should talk about cheat mode at some point, but keep going for now.
Yeah, and then basically you just kind of like get quests, and you're basically doing early MMO things. Like this came out in 2007, so unlike the quadrilogy, which had a very slow battle system, this one's a lot more fast paced.
Yeah,
and the re-release note said that that's also something that they improved further.
Yeah, like the only thing that might be a little off-putting is the player Haseo plays as is called an adept rogue, and they can use about any weapon type in the game. The problem with that is it takes you a while to change weapons, and you can't specifically use any weapon yet. You have to get a job extension to use more weapons. So right now I can only use dual blades and a buster sword. But if I wanted to change them in battle right now, I actually have to select it, and then Haseo goes through a like 30-second animation to change his weapon. And I am open to attack through there, which can be kind of a problem. Luckily, after this next job extension I get what is called skill trigger. Or not skill trigger, I forget the name of it exactly, but basically, when I do a skill for another weapon, I will dash in with that weapon instantly.
So when you change, you automatically attack too.
When I use an attack for that weapon, so like, there's a skill called Ghost Falcon. If I use that on a different type of weapon, because it's a twin blade skill, I will switch to twin blades in the rush in, and I will be staying, and I'll stay on twin blades.
So basically, you can just change by doing different attacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, they kind of, like, I don't remember if that was something that they planned on doing from the start, but it is nice that it's there.
It is.
Because if, it would be kind of pointless to have a game where, oh, you can use all the different weapons, but it takes you like 30 seconds to switch. And I think if you could attack, you actually stop the switch. Which is kind
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's another relic from the PlayStation 2 era.
Yeah.
This was back before real-time weapon switching was really commonplace, because...
fast real-time weapon switching, Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there wasn't the horsepower to do it back then.
Yeah, you were actually loading. And, I wish this cutscene would hurry up so I could actually show you a battle.
I'm like, it is a JRPG.
Yeah.
Asking to hurry up their cutscenes, they're not skippable, is an endeavor in futility.
Well, it's like you can skip. It's one thing they did add in the remake because they figured, you've probably played this before. You probably don't want to watch this.
Yeah, the trilogy, or this re-release did a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. Like, this re-release is mainly tailored for, oh, you've played the, trilogy before? Here, has some improvements so you don't have to go through that crap again.
And yeah, and for people who have played through it before and want to get to the added story.
And here we're talking about doing, I guess, a thing that's involved from the end of the previous volume. I'm basically retrieving one of our party members, Adelie's powers, because it was stolen from her at the end of Volume 1. So I'm basically going to go get that back. It's a minor spoiler, but this will also give me a good thing to show off the Avatar battle system. Assuming I can get to there in time.
I don't remember how long that part was.
It's more how long that dungeon is.
That's what I meant, how long the dungeon is.
Yeah. Because some of these dungeons take 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, they can get tedious really fast, too.
Because if you're inside a dungeon, you have no way to increase your movement speed at all.
Nope.
And so I guess while we're doing this, we could probably talk about Haseo, our lovely little edgelord who he has.
Have you ever seen Sasuke from Naruto? There you go.
He's not wrong though.
He's not.
Hell, same voice actor.
I know. I'm like, what the fuck?
Heck, his first job is a twin blade job. He has the same hairstyle too.
Yeah. Every time you get a job extension, your character changes a bit. And so basically, Haseo is the antithesis of Kite. Like we
Yeah.
He was
mentioned,
a traditional protagonist.
he is as Animu can get. And we have some of his friends here, Syllabus and Gaspard basically want to help new people. And in the beginning of Volume 1, you get hit by Data Drain by Azure Kite. And you get reset to level 1, and they mistake you for a noob. Irritation ensues. Hiseo basically is debating whether or not to kill them, and then they end up being his friend.
Hmm.
And then we go to the arena, basically is the next stop, where we deal with Endrance. Oh wait, no, first we deal with GU stuff, because we have to
Yeah.
meet Pi and Kun and Yada.
What does GU stand for? Did they ever say?
I think it was mentioned, but I don't remember offhand.
Actually, I don't think it.
Yeah,
That is one of the potential meanings.
yeah.
There are multiple, like
Yeah.
Heroes the Third says like graphical something or other.
Yeah.
Well, that's his thing, really.
Hmm.
Not Project GU.
Shit. Oh, this is another thing that kind of sucks. If
Are
you're
you saying that Pyros the Third is a weird character?
yes, I don't like Pyros, but apparently I'm in a minority here.
Yeah, I honestly like him
That
myself.
is that's one of the there is one of the issues in the game where you have to be careful not to hit login again, or else they have to reload, and then you load back out to the menu. And all of the going back to your menu and the main menu, reading your email, loading back into the game, it just grinds the flow so bad.
Yeah, there are
Because
times when
apparently
pace.
Alt Tab doesn't exist in this universe.
Yeah, there are some downtimes in this game where things just get tedious, and you're just like, when are we going to move on?
I
Something
want to
more
kill
interesting.
something. Let me see if I can actually get a party going. I probably can't do Avatar
So
Battle, but I can at
is
least
that
show combat.
semi-random? Who you can
What?
party up with at any given time?
Yes. A lot of times for like specific story missions, you can see people are either busy or offline, which means I can't take them into a party with me.
Uh-huh.
So they're basically telling me I need to go talk to Ovan. Which, for those of you who have know anything about the series or whatnot, Ovan's a fucking douche.
Yeah, you think that he's a bad guy. He's one of the guys that you
He's
don't
actually
think
not
is him.
technically bad. He's more of a chaotic neutral.
He's a bad guy.
He's the antagonist, but not necessarily evil.
Yeah, there's the GU is weird. There's no real specific evil other than maybe the IDA programs, but they have no master.
I forget. Did the World 2 not have player killers, or does it now? Does it
The
still?
World 2 is the one that has the player killers.
Okay.
And that's another thing. Basically, the game treats death in-game way too seriously.
Yeah.
Well, remember back in MMOs before like World of Warcraft, when you died, there was a significant amount of stuff you lost.
Yeah, like
And also sometimes in these war games, it's not just dying; it's also like getting data drained, which I assume
data
means
drained
having
I
your
can see
character
because data
delete.
drain can, best case it's Hiseo where you are reverted back to level 1. Worst case you're in a coma.
Yeah. But
So, yeah,
just dying is like,
dying
wait,
to a
let
random
me go respawn.
Yeah. Well, I think in the original quadrilogy, death you just got thrown back to the starting point and got level downed. Assuming
Yeah.
it wasn't plot important. But here, anytime, well, at least in the PS2 version of GU, anytime you died, you had to reload your save. In the remake, though, there's a retry function.
I mean, Haseo's brain has been screwed with by his previous experiences, but I don't think it's so bad that, oh no, I died, I need to respawn and go get my stuff back would not be a realistic response.
Yeah.
Rather than I died, now I need to go quit the world forever.
Yeah, I died. I need to go burn my computer down and shit.
Yeah, it's cringy
Yeah.
at times.
This game is one of those that the gameplay itself is actually still pretty solid. Like the actual combat. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
you could still use a little bit more movement speed, or they could shrink the areas down. But as far as, fighting enemies, can I actually invite somebody to my party now? This is getting annoying. When you want to show off combat, they make you do story.
When you want to show off story, they make you do combat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to show you guys frickin' combat stuff, which is probably the best part of this game. Oh, I have access to Doldana. That's useful.
And there are like a fairly large but limited number of other people playing with that you can party up with. It's not like they're randomly generated.
Yeah, I don't have the list in front of me if someone can go look that up.
I think in the original game they were like somewhere between 30 and 50 characters.
Yeah, the original game was fucking bonkers. And I have
Yeah.
the utmost respect for anyone who got all of their affection up to maximum. Because that's another thing in this game. There's an affection system.
Yeah, you can reply to your party members' emails, and they can increase their affection.
Also, just going in parties, performing special skills they like, giving them gifts.
Let's see.
Oh, Doldana. And there is, I don't think there's a whole lot that actually happens, like, if you have max affection, other than, like, you can go for the quote-unquote marriage ending at the end.
And this
Mhm.
version allows you to do that with more than one character, apparently.
Yep. You can do it
Mhm.
with everybody on your party list.
Let's see. Playable characters there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Also, you can add one.
16 plus 2 temporary playable characters aside from the
Does that include him in Volume 4, or?
aside from the Infinity 8, who I think are like the main characters.
Yeah.
And then there are another bunch of support characters.
Yeah.
So,
Like, Pyros is one of those support characters. Like, I think
Pyros the Third is listed as a playable character.
Well, he's also he's not necessary outside of the one point you talk to him in Volume 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you technically have to do anything else with him afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can pretty much ignore him after that if you want. Oh, he's a fun character.
There is also who's else also basically useless. Like, Syllabus and Gaspard are kind of useless. Like, there are a few points where you have to party with them later on, but it's more of just side story crap.
The wiki lists as playable characters Azure Kite, Azure Orca, Azure Balmung. I imagine some of those are somewhat spoilers, but sorry. Shino, Tabby, Syllabus, Gaspard, Alcade, Bordeaux, Zelkova, Kaede, Matsu, Antares, Pyros III, and Natsume. And then 2 temporary ones that I'm not going to say because they might be spoilers. I don't know.
There's also one more that's super spoilers for Volume 4, which we shouldn't go into.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this was originally was this originally released as a 3-volume thing, unlike the first one that was 4, and then this
Yeah.
re-release has a 4th volume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hence the importance of cheat mode, because if you're like Petty fan and not doing a review of this game, you might want to. I got this re-release of this game that I played the shit out of. Like
I
while-
have 60 hours on a memory card somewhere. I'm not doing that again.
Uh-huh.
Same.
I do want to note that apparently the GU games never came to Europe before this re-release.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
saw
that's why
that.
we should kind of chill out on the spoilers then.
That,
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry, I was just listing stuff on the wiki, so I don't
Yeah.
even know how spoilers those are, but I'll try and stop.
The only ones that was really actually spoilers were the Azure trio.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you know, I should be able to be getting. Yeah, wait. Oh, they're in my party. I was about to say, like, wait, what? So yeah, I'm about to do a quest thing so I can actually show off combat.
like,
I guess we could vocally talk about the battle system. It's easier to
Yeah.
show and explain.
Yeah, this is one of those. It's pretty simple, but it's also better than the quadrilogy's battle system which was a fucking hot mess.
Yeah, it was. So many menus had to go through just to do something.
Yeah, and things didn't stop while you were in the menus.
Nope.
I imagine
This one-
many old MMOs were like that.
Yeah. But this
Yeah, it's
one,
true.
it actually knows it's a single player game, and like if you go into the menu to look for skills, then sorry, that was my cat. If you like go in the menu to look for skills, it'll pause. And like
Mhm.
here I have healing spell, cure sleep, cure curse, cure poison, and I have some attack spells because I'm an adept rogue. And I
Right.
also have the art system, which is my skills.
right, not for nothing, but I don't want to get bogged down in the minutia of this
Yeah.
game series.
Basically, this is the combat pretty much. I can whack on something and use a skill to hit it really hard.
Now, was the story finished before, and this is like a additional thing, or was the story kind of left hanging before, and this is like an actual ending in
This is an
Yeah.
actual
Section
ending.
4 here? Okay, so
Yeah, it was pretty much finished. It's just honestly,
It was
I'm not gonna-
finished, but what they did with Hugh, who we're not going to name here, they left it really open. It was supposed to
Yeah.
be answered in the Returner OVA, but
that's
that
kind of canon.
yeah, I was about to say the canonicity of that's always been questioned.
Yeah, it doesn't help that at the end of Volume 3 that it has some implications there as well. I'm not going to say anything, but it has some implications on what happened.
So this is probably a good thing that they are, adding a full ending to the.
Yeah.
It depends on your personal view.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
I kind of
The franchise actually did persist beyond GU here.
Yes, there
Yeah.
is another game. There are two more games we never got in the West. There is Dot Hack Link for the PSP, and Dot Hack Versus, which came with the last movie Blu-ray version of all
Yeah.
things.
There was also a third series or a third OVA series.
Yeah, that lined in with the movie.
Yeah, Dot Hack Quantum and Dot Hack, and then there was Dot Hack the movie, which is actually the most recent entry in the franchise, and that was about 6 years ago. Like,
something like that.
Yeah, basically, we were wondering if the series was dead because there hasn't been anything from it since the Quantum OVA in the movie.
This shows
And-
right here is so got a pulse.
hmm
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
the idea of like a meta MMO thing is kind of cool, although
Yeah, and this is
I don't know
honest.
if I like a meta MMO with like the edgelordy classes and stuff that this has, but
Like, this is a little too steampunk for my liking, but like the whole like there are some like forward thinking things from back when this was new. Like you could actually evade skills. So if somebody casts a skill on you, there's an actual tracer from it. You can dodge
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Where in the quadrilogy and other games of this era, you just had to eat it and hope you had high enough defense for it not to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So moving on to music and sound.
Music, it's there. Like there are some good tracks in it, but this is basically your standard JRPG music.
Which means
Yeah.
it can be quite good.
Yeah, it can be good, but like since I played this game so much, I kind of just turned the music off and played my own stuff.
Right.
But like if it's your first time through, I would suggest at least giving it a listen for a while, because the music doesn't really change much throughout the game. Like you get new tracks per volume, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
but like once it starts grating on your ears, it's better just to play your own music, because you're gonna be at these games for a while. The 1, 2, and 3 are about 20 hours each.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But the real kicker is Volume 4 is only about 3 hours if you complete
5.
it. Oh, it's
5.
5? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about, well, 5 if you are actually doing it legit.
Yeah.
Cheat mode, you can get through it in about 2 or 3. Well, I guess
Yeah,
cheat mode, or if you completed Volume 3 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I played through Volume 4 legit, and that's how long it took me.
Yeah. I cheat moded it because the one problem with cheat mode in this game, it doesn't persist. Because what it does is it gets you level 50, max money, max chim chims, which is basically it's kind of like skeleton keys. You give a set amount to a door or something, and it opens.
so you're saying you don't get an infinite number of the monkey from Feed Racer.
Yes. And you also have all of your arts unlocked for that volume, and you have the best armor you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you're still mortal, which means endgame stuff can still murder you.
And for that matter, you're not immune to anything that has instant kill abilities, probably.
Correct.
Yep.
But again, that's endgame stuff. But
Uh-huh.
this game, it's kind of easy in that it won't
Yeah.
make you, unless you're doing the special end dungeon, nothing has instant kill. And like you get level ups and shit, but the levels ups are honestly really, really slow. Like, yeah, they don't want you to hit, level 200 or whatever by the end of the first volume, but
Though it caps off at 50, actually.
yeah. It's 50, 100, and then 150 for volume 3, and that 150 cap carries over to 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going the wrong way.
Well, don't do that.
Yeah. And yeah, like a lot of the missions you do in the overworld are just like, hey, go here, get a chest. Use specific thing to either go into the treasure area or it powers down a boss for you to, do more damage to it. Like, it's very basic stuff from what MMOs from the early to mid 2000s were doing. Only there aren't a whole bunch of other people around. Oh, I actually activated the super thing. That's good time to mention that, though. When you get maximum morale, you basically can get this super form where you can wreck everything. I forget what Beast does. I think it's just,
It's
basically your
offense boost, basically.
yeah, you do more damage and your attack delay is lowered.
Yeah, leaving your enemies pretty much helpless.
Yeah.
And
And
then,
then
should we mention the other ones? For what
um
consider spoilers.
the second one's not, but the third one is.
Yeah, well, just mention, yeah, you get
There
new ones
there
as
is
volumes
Beast
go on.
Awakening, which is movement speed and um your opponents can't counterattack and you hit harder. And then there is Demon, which is basically it's the mage abilities.
Yeah, it's the magic version.
Yeah. And then
So, speaking of modes, there's also a thing called parody mode.
yes.
Now, this is another thing that sounds like is mostly added for people who have already played the game once.
Yeah. It's basically they made an abridged of the cutscenes.
Yeah, it's for the fans, basically.
Yeah. It's like it clearly makes fun of Haseo, the fact that one of the characters is basically a trap.
Mm-hmm.
And just it takes all the piss.
Mm-hmm. It pokes fun at Link as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts because, yeah, a lot of people believe Link to be the worst part of the series.
Which, if you read into it, you can understand why.
Mm-hmm. And then there is also the terminal disc, which is like the OVAs that came bundled with the quadrilogy. They basically show what's going on in the real world. I haven't delved too much into those because those didn't come with the base version originally. Those came with the collector's edition.
Yeah. But basically, the terminal disc kind of goes into the events of the past games, and
Yeah, it kind of bridges the events of the end of R1 and then what's happening in the real world of R2.
yeah, it's good for if you've never played. Like, if this is your first experience with the Dot Hack franchise.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, there's a lot of the lore in this game is deep and wide.
Yes.
If you want something with a lot of lore, this is what you're looking at.
I mean, it kind of had to have a lot of lore because, it's a transmedia property spanning, several mediums. Two series of games, like 2 television series, 3 OVA series at least.
Like, 2 or 3 at least canon novels.
Yeah, it's like
1 canon manga.
Yeah, it's like
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you just couldn't ignore the lore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But thankfully, most of the lore is optional. Like, it's nice fluff, but you'll still understand what's going on in the game itself without reading or watching any of the side material other than if you want, more in-depth on Haseo's motivation, Roots is recommended.
Yeah. If you're willing to go beyond the game.
Yeah.
Right.
And now I can go finish these bosses real quick, and then I guess, do we want to talk about price? Well, I'm going to go kill these bosses.
Price sounds good. Like, I believe this game package clocks in at what, $50?
$40.
$40. Yeah.
This is like a pretty good deal for basically 3 full-length RPGs plus extra.
My whole thing on this is it depends. how big of a dot hack fan you are.
Well,
Is
Yes.
That's true.
well, let's
And
just say
how well you can tolerate slightly archaic RPG design.
Mm-hmm.
well, it's like I suppose there's two different quantifications here. For people who are new, absolutely this is the way to go.
Mhm.
If only because tracking down the PlayStation 2 releases, even GU is
You're
unexpensive.
looking about almost $100 per,
Yeah.
for the full set.
Yeah, if
And
you
that's-
if you want if you were a dot hack fan or a dot hack GU fan and wanted
Yep.
more of it, this has more of it. If
And-
you want to get into the dot hack franchise now, this is pretty much the only affordable way currently.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, I'm looking up the price now, and it is $50.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it is. I thought it was 40. Unless
No,
Huh.
no, it's $50, and it's not on sale. So, and we're currently in a Steam sale period of time recording this.
yeah. So
But that being,
if
yeah,
you've
that
not
being-
played 1 through 3, this is a good start. If you have and want to play 4, it is not worth it. There is not enough meat to 4 to justify that $50.
Unless you
Indeed.
also want to replay the first ones or do
Yeah.
parody mode or whatever.
Yeah,
or if you want the game in, say, HD or modern hardware, you don't want to drag out your PlayStation 3 or 2, depending on the age of the PlayStation 3.
mm-hmm.
It's like your old console to play these games. This
Yeah.
This is the way to go. Like, so have you gotten to the bosses yet?
Yeah, I'm actually fighting the boss now. It's not much different than basic enemy battles. They're just basically HP sponges.
Yeah.
Which is not entirely unlike a lot of MMO
Also, we haven't
bosses.
talked about Rengeki, have we?
I was wondering when that was going to come up because, oh god, that became such a running joke.
We have our own memes, friends. We have our own memes.
I hear you can get a bonus from it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like-
Rengeki is basically an arbitrary stun value. And then if you use a skill, you can get more affection with your allies, and it'll build your morale more. And I think it does double damage.
It means like
Yeah.
linked attack, right? Or serial attack.
I don't remember. You're the Japanese dude here, not me.
I don't know what Ren it is. Is the thing.
If you
Yeah.
look at the video, it actually has the Japanese written thing out. If that helps you. I don't know what the written language is. Don't yell at me.
Yes.
And yeah, basically I just completed that quest and you get graded like as is tradition. And then it's like you get like mostly you get keywords which you can use to build your own areas kind of.
So
like-
apparently Rengeki is Japanese for combo attack.
Yeah. Yes. Ren is like in a row or in a series, and Geki is attack. So
As I was saying,
Consecutive.
yeah, consecutive attack.
as I was saying, this kind of became a running joke on the MSP show when Naka was doing the Let's Play of GU. Like, I think because of how often it got mentioned or how frustrated. Forget the details of why it became a running joke, but it was. I do
Yeah.
remember that.
Mhm.
Plus, Ogre likes saying it, so. And Naka
I
likes
think it
saying
was
it.
Keith that more said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Have
remember,
fun with it.
yeah. It's like I do remember it being one of our running jokes at the time. It's just that was like that was like 5-6 years ago at this point, so it's a bit foggy.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Oh, and here we have a I guess infected by the I guess quote unquote real antagonist of the game PC,
Mhm.
which what the IDA it's called IDA, and what it does is it basically messes with people's heads. And that's just putting it in real simple terms.
Yeah, it amplifies their emotions and such.
Mm-hmm. And then over here we meet one of our future party members, Alcade. Well, we met her before, but she doesn't like us. She's about as tsundere as tsundere can get right now. Because she's kind of salty we beat her in the arena. And like that's
because
another
when you're talking about like typical later game party member plot hooks, that's one of them.
And like real quick to the make an area thing, like I can use any keyword that I've seen already, and I could go make a level 50, 51 area if I wanted to, and I think I could, and take whoever I had in my party with me, or do it solo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it. Like, this game is fine if if you like generic anime, or if you like if you want to see where Dot Hack went after the quadrilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
Right.
wouldn't say it's all bad though. Like, Haseo has some decent development. It's just Ovan fucks it up, but that's all I'm gonna say on that.
Yeah, it's a good game series overall. It just depends on you, basically.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna handle characters like Haseo and such.
Yeah. And one thing I wasn't able to show off was the avatar battles. But
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
yeah. It's in the trailer. You can basically see it in there, and
The avatar battles are kind of very spoilery,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
that I do remember.
That is one thing. Save early and save often in this game if you're going to play it.
Yeah.
Good advice in general, although I
Well,
suppose,
modern games have a lot of auto-saving.
yeah. Just anyway,
Well, autosave early and autosave often.
so have you covered everything you needed to cover?
I think so.
I think we've been going on for about an hour.
Well,
Yep.
technically we're reviewing 4 games, so
I know. It's just
it
4
meandered
games
there
with a
in
history before that.
Yeah, it meandered there a bit, but we got there.
I'm like, still one of our longer reviews. Anyway, so yeah, final verdict.
Again, it's one of those depends on you. If you're just looking to play Volume 4, wait for a sale. If you're new to the Dot Hack series and want to get into GU, by all means, $50 is a good price for this.
Yeah, there's a lot of content here.
Yeah.
Like we've mentioned, if you're doing 1 through 3 legit, you're looking at 60 hours to get, level cap and whatnot.
Right.
Anyway, I think that's it on my end.
Any last words you want to deliver upon us, Ogre?
It's a pretty alright series overall.
I thought you were going to end it on Rengeki bonus. You disappoint me, Ogre.
I mean, if you're looking for a kind of PS2 era JRPG, it's nice, but if you're just like Petty said, if you're just looking for Volume 4, you might want to wait for a sale or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely showing its age now, but some of the updates did help, but it's just not enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right then. So I believe that will conclude our extended review of .hack GU last Recode. Like, let's see. So the week ahead. All right. So I guess first we have to address MSP because, well, we're kind of at an impasse.
Mm-hmm.
The story of MSP is Mac is having some personal issues that are making it difficult to host the show, but we're starting to get to the point where we have some potential guests lined up, so we're going to try to work that out with them.
Yeah.
I have potentially 3 guests we're looking at least right now. And it's kind of hard to, do real talks with them because I don't know if we're having a show any week or not.
Yeah, and I have one that we were going to try to schedule sometime in December, but I need confirmation from Mac that we're going to be doing shows, so.
All right. So, I mean, the grand question is if he's figured out his sleep schedule because, like, even before the hiatus, he had mentioned that, his sleep schedule has been really out of whack because of all of the extra work he's been doing lately, for his various projects.
Uh-huh.
And that has, in turn, sapped his will to do the show, especially when we don't have a guest. So, I'm not, and once again, I'm not sure if we can resolve this by Wednesday.
But we're gonna try.
It's like, and have a guest and all that stuff because, to compound this, we're just coming off a holiday weekend. So, nobody was doing shit. But on that note, Fragments of Silicon will be returning to its usual production schedule. And to answer the question, yes, we do have a Tuesday interview lined up. And this week we will be having Simon Gardner of the Climax Group, or I think it's Climax Entertainment. I'm trying to remember which Climax we're dealing with here because there is more than one of these, and they're pretty distinctly different from each other. Like, one entity is a UK developer who has worked on a myriad of games over the years and decades. The other is a Japanese developer, who created things like Landstalker. It's important to get these things sorted out.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it like Climax Studios? I think, no, it's Climax Studios we're talking to. The Climax Group is maybe a third entity. I'm sure we'll get it all straightened out on Tuesday.
I should hope so.
It's like, it's probably going to be one of the first questions we ask. Do you ever get confused with the other Climaxes? How are you, and so on and so forth. It's something that's come up when we've had this, hey, there's another company that's named like you are. Has that ever interfered in business?
Well, as long as we don't have to open up with, okay, hello, who are you and why are we interviewing you?
No, it's like, I know why I know why we're interviewing them, because they make games and they are working on various projects.
Right.
Like right now, they used to do a lot of work for hire stuff. You probably played one of their games without even realizing it. Probably like they did one of the Silent Hill games, Shattered Memories, for example. Like, and I think they did Silent Hill Origins. Point is, there's a whole lot of games here, and we'll see how much of that we talk about on Tuesday. It's like, don't want to get bogged down in the minutia when you only have an hour. Anyway, what Climax is doing right now is VR titles. It's like, it's like VR is kind of, I hesitate to say a hot property, but it's certainly, there are a lot of developers in the space now. one of which is a family affair, but more on that on, say, Wednesday. Speaking of which, on Wednesday we will be having William Pellin of Team Cherry. They are the Australian developer behind the game Hollow Knight.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is actually an interview we've been trying to line up for months now. And, only here and now, or a few days away, you know what I mean, is when we've been able to get them, because even though Hollow Knight came out, they've been working on it.
Yeah, it actually got a fairly significant update recently, if I recall correctly.
It's actually gotten 2 major updates. There was one in August, and there was one in October. And that's kind of why we're able to talk to them now. That the second major update has transpired. I don't know if there's a third in line, but I know a big focus is the Switch version, although that's being handled by another studio.
Mhm.
Probably, I think they were interested in Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions, but I'm not sure if those are confirmed. Anyway, we'll certainly be asking about those come the interview. And let's see. Finally, next Sunday, once again, we'll be returning to more traditional reviews, i.e., no big ass RPGs. As we'll be reviewing Space Pirates and Zombies 2 and Card City Knights 2.
Those sound like sequels.
Yes, I was the only one who got Spaz 2, as it's abbreviated. And everyone here should have Card City Knights 2. And also of note, Spaz 2 is a game we were supposed to review a couple weeks ago, but it got delayed because, we have these RPGs to get through. So, more on those next week. And hopefully we'll see you on Tuesday, Wednesday, and beyond. And until then, I wish you good gaming.